We have a really fun one today. I'm going to talk about the ILV chart specifically, and then I'm going to talk about it against Ethereum and go into all that so that we can know kind of where the ILV price is heading in the short term and potentially the long term as well. You can see the title right there. Don't worry, you're going to learn a lot today. Stay with me. It's going to be really good. This is not financial advice. You guys know that by now. Let's jump straight into it. Okay. So here's the chart here. I'm on the 4 hour. Now it gets more interesting as we go to the daily and weekly. But I've had this Fibonacci sequence, and those of you that follow my Twitter already know what it's about, but I've had this Fib sequence lined up for quite some time. And now what I measured here was this move here back in July of this year. I'm measuring quite a high volume area and just a trend-based Fibonacci sequence. And it comes all the way down and gives me a 2 Fibonacci sequence at $51.4. That is the most important part there. And you can see that this lines up really, really well. It found resistance around the 1 Fib, 1.5, it retested a couple of times. The 1.168, it retested once on the way down with some high volume spikes. And 51.4, we've been hovering around there for quite some time. Now, why I'm bringing this up now is because I'm seeing some really interesting information on the chart. I'm going to go over volume divergence today because it is my personal favorite way to analyze charts of all different kinds. Because as one of my favorite content creators says, volume never lies, price often lies, but volume never does, or something like that. But volume is the truest way to read these charts, okay? You cannot ignore it. It is something I did in the first year of trying to read charts, is I ignored volume, okay? That is my personal story, and that is why I suck at trading, but I'm trying to get better at it. So the first thing we should notice here is that it came within 1 cent of my 51.4 target, okay? So these fibs have been spot on. I'm gonna leave them for now, but we could drop below that, so keeping that in mind. But for now, what we want to look at is the volume. Now, this down here is one of my favorite tools at the moment. Oh, crap. And it probably always will be. Okay, so let's look at this on its own for a second. This is an edited money flow indicator. Basically, it's showing where the money is going into a given asset when it's at the top and it's overbought, and it tends to start to come down a little bit. When it's down the bottom, it is oversold. So it's kind of like an RSI, but it involves volume in it as well. So it's a volume RSI in a lot of ways. Now, essentially what this is telling us right now is that the volume is slowly increasing. You can see, if I put a little trend line here, you can see that it is trending upwards very slowly, but it is trending upwards. And you can see here that it was trending downwards, right? So if we go back and look this in the context of the chart again, I'll bring this up a bit. If we look at this in the context of the chart, we have this point up here, right? And down there, you can see it was trending downwards in price. And what you can see down the bottom is it's not really trending downwards in price, right? It's not trending upwards in price, that is. It is still trending downwards in price. You can see right from that start peak there, all the way to the end, typically for the most part, they're all lower lows, right? Including this last one here is a lower low. Now, what that happens when your line on the money flow, or I mean, there's a few ways to look at it, but the basic one is your line on the money flow is going up and a line on price is going down, then what you're looking for is something called a divergence. Now, let's see if we can quickly find an example on the ETH chart, and then we'll jump back and we'll wrap this up. This won't go for too long, guys. So on the Ethereum chart, let's look for a really good divergence. So you have one right here, a ginormous one on the 4 hour chart. You can see that price was increasing, and on the divergence, it was decreasing, right? And you can see what happened is the price pretty much capitulated and crashed off the face of the earth, went from about 1800 down to 1250. Now we are in a bear market, so I don't expect to have ginormous swings in the other direction. But as we just discussed, these price divergences, right, they can go both ways. So we're looking at a minor price divergence on the 4 hour, and the 4 hour is quite a powerful time frame, but it's not super duper crazy accurate. But what I've been noticing is actually the daily chart is looking really, really crazy. Now, I'm not saying that any of this is going to depict the long term. We're going up forever and ever and ever. But what I'm looking at here is the potential for a short-term rally. You can see this right here as it's been increasing really rapidly, and the price has just been moving sideways or decreasing. So that is a massive, massive divergence in that chart, okay? So what I'm looking at is for this to actually rally a decent amount, okay? I don't know how much this is going to be, but in the short term, this is a decent buying opportunity, and I will actually be staking some more here because I feel confident enough for us to hold that for a bit, given every single market in the world doesn't just instantly collapse, right? Obviously, this is not financial advice. There's a lot that could happen that we're not seeing yet. But for the moment, ILV actually looks more bullish than it has in the past 6 months or so. Now, the last one we're going to look at is the weekly chart, and you're actually seeing something pretty much the same. You've got a huge downtrend, which is unfortunate. But you can see that in the recent times, the money is coming into the asset, but the price is still declining. So the downwards pressure is essentially slowing down, and they're losing their foothold on taking out ILV and selling it on the market. They're losing that momentum. And eventually it is going to turn the other way. Is it going to go to $150? I don't know. Is it going to go to $1 billion? Is it going to go to 60? That's what we can't really determine. But for now, ILV is showing some serious strength I haven't seen in the token for quite some time in terms of price. I mean, the project, my conviction hasn't changed on that. And so my conviction will never change on the team and the long-term vision of ILV. But in the short term, price looks really, really good to me. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please, if you learned something, please like and subscribe down below. Don't forget to hit the bell. I really appreciate it. Have a good day, guys.